My name's Ethan Cole. Born in a nowhere Ohio town called Briarwood, where the most exciting tech was the tractor repair shop down the road. Dad was an electrician, Mom a librarian, practical people who thought coding meant something you did with a cipher wheel. But they noticed early that I'd rather take apart our VCR than watch it. By 12, I'd rigged the school's computer lab to run Doom during study hall. Got suspended, but Principal Higgins quietly asked me to fix the district's payroll software the next year. Paid me in pizza. No Ivy League gloss, just late nights in the lab building crude neural networks on machines that wheezed like asthmatic dinosaurs. Graduated top of my class, but what I loved most wasn't the theory, it was the puzzle. How lines of logic could bend reality.
This one's gonna change things. Love you, nerd.
Met my wife Clara there too. She was a biology grad student who laughed at my robot voice impressions. We moved to Silicon Valley in 2003, chasing the dot-com boom. She studied cells. I built firewalls. For 20 years, I poured myself into Technova Solutions. Started as engineer number 7, back when the office was a converted auto shop. Watched it balloon into $1 billion beast.
You promised you'd come, Dad.
Clara used to joke I loved that company more than her. Not true, but close. Missed a lot. Birthdays, anniversaries. That time my daughter Lily performed as a talking tree in her 4th grade play. But I told myself it was worth it. Every bug I squashed, every feature I shipped kept hospitals and banks safe. That mattered. When I wasn't coding, model trains. Don't laugh. There's a zen to laying track, wiring tiny streetlights, building whole worlds inside a 10 by 12 shed.
It's your analog escape.
Lily would help me paint miniature towns, lakes the size of puddles, forests made of sponge. After Clara passed, ovarian cancer, 2015, those trains kept me sane. That and Lily's texts. Love you, don't forget to eat. But Technova, that was my legacy. Or so I thought. The elevator doors slid open on the 14th floor and I adjusted my tie. The same red one Clara had gifted me for our 10th anniversary. For luck, she'd said. It felt heavier today. The glass-walled conference room loomed ahead, its blinds angled like prison bars against the Silicon Valley sun. Inside, Daniel Hartman and Olivia Greer sat flanking a polished mahogany table, their faces lit by the glow of a projector. The scent of overpriced espresso lingered, bitter and familiar. I'd rehearsed this moment in the shower, in traffic, over lukewarm takeout. 20 years, Sentinel 9.0, the future of cybersecurity. My pitch was bulletproof. But something felt off. Olivia's smile didn't reach her eyes, and Daniel's fingers drummed a restless rhythm on the table. A tell he'd had since the day I mentored him on his first API integration. Back when he'd called me the Yoda of code.
Ethan, we've been eager to discuss your contributions.
Her tone was syrup sweet, the kind she'd used last quarter when she'd streamlined my firewall upgrades into her own presentation. I'd let it slide then. Team player always.
Your work on Sentinel 9.0 has been noteworthy.
A PowerPoint slide flickered. Project Sentinel leadership by D. Hartman and O. Greer. My code, my adaptive algorithms, splayed across the screen like a trophy. Wait, that's the backend I built. The threat prediction module was my...
We're restructuring, Ethan, prioritizing synergy.
She slid a document toward me. Termination for cause poor performance, intellectual property theft. The words blurred. Stealing ideas? My laugh came out jagged. You're kidding. The Helsinki breach last year, who patched the servers? Me. The board was ready to can, both of you, until I reverse engineered that malware.
We have reports, concerns about collaboration.
Collaboration. Corp speak for gaslighting. Memories flashed. Olivia borrowing my notes for the CEO's keynote. Daniel volunteering my overtime to fix his team's spaghetti code. All those times I'd covered for them, thinking loyalty was currency. Security arrived silently. Marco, the night shift guy who'd once asked me to help his kid with a coding boot camp. He wouldn't meet my eyes.
Sorry, Mr. Cole.
He muttered, hovering as I emptied my desk. A decade of mementos. Lily's crayon drawing of a cyber robot taped to my monitor. Clara's post-it, don't forget the lasagna. From the night I'd missed dinner to debug Sentinel's beta. The walkout was a silent funeral. Colleagues ducked behind monitors, fingers frozen mid-keyboard. "I'm sorry," Rachel from QA mouthed as the elevator dinged. In the parking lot, I stared at my keycard, its magnetic strip scratched from 20 years of swipes. When I snapped it in half, the sound was louder than I'd expected. The garage smelled like stale coffee and solder fumes. A far cry from Technova's ergonomic utopia. I'd shoved Clara's gardening tools into a corner to make room for whiteboards plastered with equations, their edges curling like dead leaves. My office was a folding chair and a salvaged desk propped up by Grey's Anatomy textbooks, Lily's pre-med phase, circa 2017. The first night I stared at the blank screen of my laptop, its glow reflecting the hollowed-out version of me in the dark window. What the hell am I doing? Then I found the notebook. Buried under a stack of Lily's old soccer trophies was the leather journal Clara gave me for our anniversary. Inside, sketches of Sentinel X, a concept too wild for Technova's bean counters. Adaptive algorithms that learn from attacks, not just predict them.
This one's gonna change things. Love you, nerd.
I called Maya Patel first. She'd quit Technova 6 months earlier after Daniel took credit for her intrusion detection code.
They fired you? Bastards, I'm in. But Cole, if we're doing this, we're burning their empire to the ground.
We met at Denny's at 2 a.m., hash browns cold as we scribbled on napkins. Maya, with her neon green hair and a tattoo of Alan Turing on her forearm, talked faster than my code compiled.
Sentinel X needs a kill switch they can't reverse engineer. Something. Quantum.
Quantum-inspired encryption, use probabilistic bit flipping, makes the key mutate every nanosecond.
Cole, that's either genius or career ending.
Why not both? We rebuilt Sentinel in the garage, fueled by Lily's care packages. Salted caramel cookies and a sticky note, "Kick their ass, Dad." My old team trickled in. Javier, the cloud architect Daniel had demoted for insubordination. That is, correcting his math. Priya, the UI savant who'd quit after Olivia called her designs garish. Even Marco, the security guard, showed up with a USB drive full of Technova's client emails.
"For the kids' coding camp,"
he said, guilt twisting into a grin. The breakthrough came at 3 a.m. during a thunderstorm. We'd hit a wall with the encryption. Every simulation crashed at 97% load. Maya was pacing, muttering in Gujarati. Javier had resorted to stress knitting a scarf. Then I noticed Lily's model train set across the room, its tiny tracks looping in perfect chaos. What if it's not a wall? What if it's a maze?
Explain.
The encryption doesn't just block, it reroutes. Like a train switching tracks mid-route. The attacker follows a decoy path while the real data slips through a side tunnel.
"You're describing a digital Hogwarts Express."
3 days later, we cracked it. Quantum Labyrinth Encryption. A self-shifting cipher that turned every hack into a wild goose chase. We tested it by hacking ourselves. Maya played the villain, deploying every exploit she learned in her Black Hat days. Don't ask. Sentinel X adapted, evolved, and after 12 hours, spat out her own IP address.
Oh, holy shit, Cole, you're a madman.
Money was a problem. I mortgaged the house, sold the model trains, kept one, a steam engine Clara bought me on our honeymoon. Investors laughed. A venture capitalist said, "You're competing with Technova? Call me when you've got a logo." Another VC sneered, checking his Rolex. Then came Black Thursday. A ransomware gang hit Technova's biggest client, a European bank. Sentinel 9.0 froze, literally. Daniel's team had stripped my adaptive protocols to simplify the UI, and the system buckled. The hackers leaked 10,000 credit cards before Technova paid the ransom.
Time to debut Phoenix.
We leaked a demo of Sentinel X on GitHub, anonymously. By dawn, it was trending. Reddit threads called it Skynet's nicer cousin. Technova's stock dropped 15%. Our first call came from a Swiss hospital network. Their CTO begged, "We need this, now." I quoted a price that made Maya choke on a Red Bull. He didn't blink.
The first cracks in Technova's armor weren't splinters. They were canyons.
It started with a hospital in Oslo. Their neonatal ICU monitors flatlined for 12 seconds during a Sentinel 9.0 routine update. No casualties, but the headlines were merciless. Technova's Sentinel fails to guard its own system.
Daniel's damage control was a masterclass in desperation.
He live-streamed a cringe-worthy demo, sweating through his $3,000 suit as he fumbled to explain Sentinel's enhanced user experience. I watched it on my phone while boarding a flight to Zurich, Maya snorting loudly beside me.
He's using the debug console. Look, he doesn't even know how to toggle the admin privileges.
The client in Zurich wasn't impressed. Their CISO, a no-nonsense woman named Annika with a scar from a BlackBerry explosion, long story, grilled me for 2 hours.
How is Phoenix different?
She demanded. I slid my laptop across the table. Try to hack it! Annika's team threw everything at Sentinel X. Phishing sims, 0 days, even a brute force attack from a server farm in Moldova. The AI yawned. It rerouted their assaults into a digital sandbox, then generated a 50-page report on their tactics. Annika's smile was a blade.
We'll take 5 licenses, and him.
She said, pointing to Javier, who'd fallen asleep mid-PowerPoint. Back home, Lily had turned my garage whiteboards into a victory mural, Phoenix 1, Dragon 0, and glitter glue. But Technova's meltdown was just warming up.
A Midwest power grid using Sentinel 9.0 got hit with ransomware, twice in a week. Olivia went on CNBC, her Botox flawless as she blamed legacy infrastructure.
The anchor wasn't having it.
But isn't Sentinel supposed to prevent this?
Cue the viral clip, Olivia blinking like a deer in headlights. Meanwhile, Phoenix's inbox was a war zone of frantic emails. Technova clients offering double contracts. Recruiters begging for Javier's knitting patterns. We hired Priya full-time, and she redesigned our UI to look like a retro video game, complete with a pixelated Phoenix that screeched when it blocked a threat. Users loved it. Then came the kicker: an anonymous GitHub account leaked Technova's internal Git logs. Suddenly, the whole world could see my commits on Sentinel 9.0. Every line of code time-stamped a year before Daniel's leadership. The board's apology letter was a masterpiece of corporate groveling, but their stocks still tanked 60%. The coup de grace? A Senate hearing. Some grandstanding politician dragged Daniel and Olivia into a televised circus about tech accountability. I watched from a hotel bar, whiskey in hand, as they squirmed under oath.
Is it true you falsified authorship of critical software? I delegated effectively.
The clip blew up as a TikTok remix with circus music. The downfall of Daniel Hartman and Olivia Greer wasn't a single thunderclap. It was a storm of whispers, leaks, and the cold, unblinking eye of accountability. It began with an anonymous email to Technova's board, time-stamped Git logs and Slack transcripts attached. But it wasn't me who sent it. Turns out Marco, the security guard who'd escorted me out months earlier, had been quietly compiling evidence.
Dad, if you don't expose them, who will?
He handed the files to the Silicon Sentinel, a tech blog known for corpse-picking corporate scandals. The headline was brutal. Technova's leaders built an empire on stolen code. Technova's emergency board meeting leaked via a disgruntled intern's TikTok live stream. Pixelated but damning CFO Victoria Cho slamming her fist.
You two gambled the company's reputation on lies. Where's the contingency plan?
Daniel, pallid and twitchy, blamed rogue engineers. Olivia, ever the tactician, pivoted.
We acted on flawed data. A third-party audit will...
Flawed data.
The CEO, a silver-haired shark named Roland Voss, slid a termination letter across the table.
Clean out your desk by noon?
It was over the moment you stole from someone who built worlds for fun. This isn't over. Your tell-all memoir's already dead, Olivia. Publishers won't touch you, not even as fiction. I nodded to the convention floor where Phoenix's booth swarmed with Technova's former clients. Will you?
We'll bounce back. We always do.
You did that when you fired the one person who understood your product. You ruined us. We took the files, hired him as a janitor. They cornered me at CloudCon 24. Daniel, unshaven, reeked of airport vodka. Olivia's veneer cracked under cheap concealer.
Because Olivia threatened to pin the Git leak on me. She's drafting a tell-all to save herself. I won't be her fall guy. Why trust you? I need a job. I'll trade you Technova's client playbook, their cloud infrastructure blueprints, everything.
The real twist, Miles Carter, Technova's smarmy PR director, showed up at Phoenix's doorstep.
Just ship it. Ethan's not here to play hero anymore.
Depositions revealed Olivia had ignored QA warnings about Sentinel 9.0's flaws. A paralegal leaked her email to Daniel. Technova's negligence endangered lives. By dawn, hash code thieves trended globally. Memes spliced Olivia's CNBC deer in headlights moment with the Lion King scar. Daniel's LinkedIn became a graveyard of rage ex-colleagues, clients, even his alma mater scrubbing his alumni profile. Then came the lawsuits. A class action led by the Oslo Hospital's CEO. Technova filed Chapter 11. We bought their patents for pennies, absorbed their best engineers, and turned their headquarters into a coding academy.
Lily designed the logo, a phoenix clutching a broken keycard.
Daniel sells used Teslas in Fresno.
Olivia, last I heard she's a life coach for crypto bros.
As for me, I still code in the garage, but now the trains run on time. The offer arrived on a crisp Monday morning, printed on Technova's old letterhead. Roland Voss, their once untouchable CEO, stood in my garage-turned-HQ, flanked by lawyers whose briefcases probably cost more than my first car. His voice was sandpaper.
Name your terms.
I glanced at Maya, who smirked and tossed a stress ball shaped like Technova's logo, now collecting dust on a shelf of karma trophies. You become a Phoenix subsidiary. Your engineers report to Maya. Your clients migrate to Sentinel X. And you... I paused, savoring the quiet rage in Roland's clenched jaw.
Publicly admit Technova's failures, in writing.
He signed. Walking back into Technova's lobby felt like stepping into a mausoleum. The once vibrant innovation wall now displayed half-finished projects mothballed by Daniel's ego. Employees whispered as I passed. Some glared, but most just looked relieved. Maya took the reins like a wartime general. Her first move, a company-wide live stream.
Mandatory ethics training?
Hosted by Javier, who opened with,
Raise your hand if you've ever stolen code. It's confession time, kids.
The real goldmine was Technova's R&D lab. Buried under years of Daniel's micromanagement was Project Aegis, a next-gen AI firewall they'd abandoned because it couldn't monetize. We revived it in 3 weeks, merging it with Sentinel X's quantum core. The result? Aegis X, a self-healing network that made ransomware obsolete. Even Lily got involved, interning as our UX ethics consultant.
No more dark patterns. If you wouldn't trick your grandma, don't trick users.
Her first decree. Daniel and Olivia didn't vanish quietly. Olivia launched Greer Consulting, peddling leadership seminars to crypto startups. It flopped when a viral deepfake video replaced her face with a potato during a Zoom keynote. Daniel tried writing a memoir, disrupted a Silicon Valley survivor's story. His publisher dropped him after Maya review-bombed the draft with 0 out of 5 stars. Forgets to mention he's the villain. Their final act? A cringeworthy podcast, Hartman and Greer Uncancelled, where they blamed woke tech culture for their downfall. It peaked at 87 listeners, mostly bots. At TechCon 25, I took the stage in a hoodie, Lily's idea. The screen behind me flashed Phoenix's new motto, Build Better, Steal Never. I demoed Aegis X live, letting a hacker collective, paid, insured, mildly terrified, attack a mock bank. The AI rerouted their assault into a simulation that donated ransom funds to charity. The crowd erupted. Afterward, Roland approached, his pride dissolving into a grudging nod.
You've modernized us.
No, I reminded you what trust looks like. Phoenix Solutions now occupies Technova's old campus. We kept the lobby's broken keycard scanner as a monument. Lily's in grad school, blending ethics with AI. Claire's lasagna recipe, framed in the cafeteria. Sometimes at night, I still code in the garage. The model trains are back, their tiny tracks weaving through blueprints and prototypes. A steam engine chugs past a sticky note in Lily's handwriting. Legacy is greater than revenge. Daniel DM'd me once.
You won.
I didn't reply. Winning was never the point.
You know, we often look to headline-making figures for captivating stories, but sometimes the most powerful narratives come from, well, unexpected places. Today, we're diving deep into a story a listener shared. It's an excerpt from Code of Vengeance, a 20-year betrayal.
Right.
It's about this engineer, Ethan Cole, in a quiet Ohio town. His path takes him to the high-stakes world of Silicon Valley, only to face this profound betrayal.
And then a comeback. A pretty remarkable one.
A truly remarkable comeback. And what's fascinating right off the bat is this contrast, his humble beginnings versus the crazy complexity he ends up navigating.
It really speaks to how those early experiences shape you, doesn't it? His journey from tinkering with the VCR and rigging the school lab to play Doom. These aren't just, funny stories. They hint at a real deep-seated curiosity, a problem-solving drive that becomes crucial later.
Totally. Even getting paid in pizza for fixing payroll software, it shows that early knack for just applying skills to real problems.
Absolutely. This wasn't someone who just stumbled into tech in the Valley.
Yeah.
His time at Midwest State, maybe not a top-tier name, but clearly formative.
Right. The sources mention him building these crude neural networks on older machines. It makes you wonder about that drive, exploring the cutting edge, even with, limited gear.
Exactly. And then the move to Silicon Valley with his wife Clara in 2003. The tech scene was still, churning. She's in biology, he's building firewalls.
Two very different worlds, but both needing that grasp of complex systems.
And for 2 decades, Ethan Cole dedicates himself to Teknova Solutions. Started as engineer number 7.
Number 7, wow.
Yeah. Saw it grow from this small outfit to a major player.
Yeah.
That kind of long haul, it builds a real connection, right? A deep one.
You invest so much. The sources mention the personal sacrifices, missed family stuff,
Right.
the constant pressure of protecting these vital systems. It paints a picture of someone whose job became, part of their identity.
But he had these anchors too, didn't he? The model train hobby.
His analog escape, yeah.
Yeah. And his family, Clara and her daughter Lily, seemed to provide that crucial balance, which I think makes the betrayal hit even harder.
Definitely. The book sets that scene so well. 14th floor Teknova, the red tie Clara gave him for luck.
Oh, the irony.
That unsettling feeling in the conference room, Daniel Hartman and Olivia Greer already there. It just feels ominous.
That red tie, becomes this symbol of hope versus reality.
Yeah.
And the setup, the 2 execs already seeded it, feels deliberate, like a power play from the start.
Totally staged. So Ethan walks in, ready to present Sentinel 9.0, his baby.
The culmination of his work.
And almost immediately, the rug is pulled out.
He's laying out his work, right? These adaptive algorithms, the heart of Sentinel 9.0, explaining how they work.
And then there's this PowerPoint slide.
Yeah.
And it names Hartman and Greer as the project leaders.
Oof. It's not just an oversight, is it? It's blatant. Taking ownership of his IP right in front of him. What does that even say about them?
It speaks to a serious lack of integrity, maybe. A willingness to just step on people for personal gain.
Yeah.
To present someone's own work back to them.
Requires some serious audacity. And then the termination papers land, citing poor performance.
And intellectual property theft.
The irony is just. It's unbelievable, given his track record. Patching that Helsinki breach that could have sunk Teknova.
It's classic gaslighting, isn't it? They're not just stealing his work, they're trying to make him doubt his own reality, his professional standing.
And the source hints this wasn't the first time. Olivia taking credit for his notes, Daniel benefiting from his team.
Yeah.
It sounds like a pattern.
Like a systemic thing where his contributions were just ignored or exploited. What does that do to someone working in that kind of place?
It's incredibly demoralizing. It just erodes trust completely. When you feel your work isn't seen, or worse, stolen, you disengage. You get resentful. Companies lose good people that way.
And the way they dismissed him, escorted out by Marco, the security guard, after 20 years, it's so cold, so dehumanizing.
Packing up his desk, Lily's drawing, Clara's note, all these personal ties to the place. And then snapping the key card. That's it. Chapter closed. Brutal.
But like you said, that's not the end. He retreats to the garage, a world away from Teknova's sterile offices. This makeshift space, it becomes the incubator for his comeback.
And it starts with finding Clara's old notebook.
Yeah.
What's the significance there, you think, at that low point?
It feels like her belief, even from the past, gives him a spark. Sentinel X, this concept she'd called too wild.
Adaptive algorithms that learn.
Yeah. And her note in the margin, this one's gonna change things. It's like her faith reignites his own. Shows how much past encouragement matters.
It really does. And his first recruit, Maya Patel. She had also been burned by Daniel.
Ah, okay. So there's shared history there.
Shared grievance, yeah. And she's an expert in intrusion detection. Her reaction, let's burn their empire to the ground. She was in. immediately.
That tells you something, doesn't it? It wasn't just Ethan who felt wronged. It suggests Daniel and Olivia left a trail.
Seems likely. And Maya's skills perfectly complement Ethan's. That's a powerful combo right there.
So they have this late night session at Denny's. Cold coffee, napkins, the whole startup cliche, but it's real.
Yeah. And they hit on this core idea. Sentinel X needs a kill switch, but one that can't be reverse engineered.
Which leads to quantum-inspired encryption with probabilistic bit flipping. Okay, break that down. What's the key idea there?
Okay, think of normal encryption like a really complex padlock with one specific key. This quantum-inspired stuff, especially with probabilistic bit flipping, it's like the padlock's insides are constantly shifting randomly.
So the key is always changing.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
And the probabilistic bit flipping adds randomness, this element of chance, making it incredibly hard to predict or crack. It's way beyond just a complex lock.
Got it. Maya's reaction, genius or career ending, that captures it perfectly. High risk, high reward.
Totally. And the team starts coming together. Javier, the cloud guy, Priya, the UI whiz, even Marco, the security guard, all ex-Technova.
Wow! They're all rallying around him. What does that say about Ethan?
It says a lot. That despite the betrayal at the top, he must have built real loyalty with his colleagues. They respected him. And they bring diverse skills. Javier for cloud, Priya for making it usable.
And Marco, he brought client emails.
Yeah, insider knowledge.
Yeah.
Shows how far people were willing to go to back Ethan.
Okay, then the breakthrough. The quantum encryption simulations are crashing, and the inspiration comes from Lily's model train set. How does that work?
Right. It sounds completely random, but the idea wasn't just blocking an attack like a train hitting a wall. It was about rerouting it.
Like switching tracks.
Exactly. Send the attack down a complex series of decoy paths, a digital labyrinth. The attacker gets lost, chasing ghosts, while the real system stays safe. He called it quantum labyrinth encryption. It's deceptive, dynamic.
The digital Hogwarts Express. I love it.
Yeah. And the testing, Maya tries to hack it.
The expert attacker herself.
And Sentinel X not only stops her, but adapts and IDs her IP address. That's huge. Proof of concept right there.
Okay, the tech works. But building a company, especially going against Technova, the money side must have been brutal.
Oh, yeah. The sources mention investors laughing him out of the room. He had to mortgage the house, sell his beloved trains.
He kept one, though.
Kept one, yeah. It just shows the immense personal risk, the dedication required when you're the underdog with a disruptive idea. It's not glamorous.
Not at all. And then comes Black Thursday. Ransomware hits a Technova client. Sentinel 9.0 fails. Big beta breach. It's the perfect storm for Phoenix.
And why did Sentinel 9.0 fail? Because Daniel's team had ripped out Ethan's adaptive protocols.
The very thing that made it smart.
Exactly. They made it static, vulnerable. Their own arrogance, thinking they knew better, basically opened the door for the attack.
So Phoenix makes its move. Anonymous demo leak on GitHub. Goes viral. Technova's stock tanks.
And then the phone rings. A Swiss hospital network. Desperate. They need a solution now. And they pay Phoenix's high price.
That must have been incredible validation. A hospital trusting this brand new, unproven tech.
It showed just how bad the situation was with existing systems and how much promise Sentinel X had. That first big client, especially in critical infrastructure, that's a game changer.
But Technova's problems just keep mounting. That Oslo hospital incident, failing ICU monitors during a Sentinel 9.0 update, that's terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. When your tech fails in a place like that, trust evaporates instantly. It raises huge questions about their quality, their testing.
And the headlines must have been brutal.
Oh, devastating for their reputation. And their stock price, you can imagine.
So Daniel tries damage control, that live stream demo.
Which apparently went disastrously wrong. He couldn't even use his own system properly, using the debug console, not knowing admin rights.
Yikes. That doesn't exactly inspire confidence, shows a real disconnect from the tech he's supposed to be leading.
Definitely. Contrast that with a meeting with Anika, the CISO in Zurich. She put Sentinel X through its paces. Real, tough testing.
And she's impressed. Buys a major license and hires Javier away from Phoenix.
Well, maybe poaches Javier is more like it. But yeah, Anika's validation coming from a skeptical CISO after rigorous testing, that's gold. It proves Sentinel X wasn't just hype.
Meanwhile, Lily's putting up Phoenix 1, Dragon Zero murals. Cute. But Technova is still struggling. More ransomware, this time a power grid. And Olivia's on CNBC.
Yeah, trying to deflect, apparently not very convincingly. There was that viral clip of her just blinking under pressure.
Oh, man. In today's world, that stuff spreads like wildfire. Nonverbal cues sometimes say everything.
It suggests she knew they were in trouble, couldn't really defend their position, more damage to their credibility.
While Phoenix is just taking off, clients lining up, job applications pouring in, and Priya's retro video game UI for Sentinel X gets mentioned again. How important is a good UI for security tech?
It can be surprisingly crucial. Security tools are often complex, intimidating. If you make it intuitive, even maybe a little fun like a retro game, it lowers the barrier. People can actually use it effectively. It's a real advantage.
Okay, then the hammer falls, the smoking gun, leaked internal Git logs from Teknova.
Ah, the developer's paper trail.
Exactly. Irrefutable proof that Ethan wrote the original code for Sentinel 9.0. Timestamps, author names, everything.
In the tech world, that's basically case closed. It cuts through all the PR spin and shows the truth. Expose them completely.
The board sends an apology letter, but it's way too little too late. Stock's still crashing. Then the Senate hearing. A public grilling.
And Daniel's trying to explain it away. His delegating effectively line went viral on TikTok.
Yeah, as a joke, basically. Shows how quickly public opinion just turned on them. People saw it as dodging responsibility.
Absolutely. In the social media age, that kind of soundbite can define you, and not in a good way.
And the source of the leak. Marco, the security guard.
Wow. Not who you'd expect.
Motivated by concern for his daughter, apparently. And he worked with the Silicon Sentinel blog to get it out there. It shows how anyone can be a catalyst for accountability.
It really does. His access, his conscience, and a platform willing to publish. A powerful combination.
Yeah. Then the leaked board meeting. The CFO basically calls out Daniel and Olivia. Leads to their termination by the CEO, Roland Voss. A boardroom mutiny.
Signifies the leadership finally realizing Daniel and Olivia were toxic assets.
Yeah.
They had to cut them loose to try and save the ship, but the damage was already immense.
And the public pile-on continues. Hashtag code thieves trending globally. Their careers are pretty much toast. Plus lawsuits. Oslo Hospital leading a class action.
And that leaked email from Olivia, prioritizing shipping over quality, that's damning in a lawsuit. Concrete evidence of cutting corners.
Just keeps getting worse for them. Then another twist. Miles Carter, Teknova's PR director, Defects, offers secrets to Phoenix for a job.
Why? What was his motivation?
Apparently, Olivia was planning to frame him for the Git leak.
Wow, so the internal culture was just eat or be eaten by that point. Total breakdown of trust. Toxic doesn't even begin to cover it.
It sets the stage for that final confrontation at CloudCon 24. Ethan runs into Daniel and Olivia. They look rough, apparently, but Olivia's still defiant.
And Ethan?
Calm. Dismisses their threats, makes a crack about their memoir prospects being poor, while Phoenix has this huge presence at the conference.
Out.
And ends with that line, "You stole from a builder." Simple, but it cuts deep. What's the core message there?
It's about the act of creation, right?
Yeah.
Especially in tech. Building is everything. Taking that, profiting from it, it's a fundamental violation.
Yeah.
True success is earned, built, not stolen.
And the irony is complete. Teknova files for Chapter 11. Phoenix buys their patents, hires their talent.
Takes over their HQ and turns it into a coding academy.
Full circle. And Lily designs the new logo of Phoenix clutching a broken Teknova keycard. Perfect.
While Daniel's managing a regional electronics store? And Olivia's peddling crypto scams? Quite the fall.
Then Roland Voss, the CEO who fired them, shows up, humbled. Offers to let Phoenix acquire Teknova.
The ultimate irony, asking the guy they wronged to buy the wreckage.
And Ethan sets terms. Maya has to be a leader in the new structure. Teknova has to publicly admit its failures. It wasn't just about winning for him.
No, it was about accountability. And recognizing the people who stood by him, like Maya. Making her a leader showed his trust, his commitment to merit. The public admission was key for closure, maybe rebuilding some trust.
So Ethan walks back into the Teknova lobby. Must have been surreal. Maya takes charge. Implements ethics training led by Javier. A real culture shift.
They find this hidden gem project, Aegis, an abandoned AI firewall Teknova had shelved.
They dust it off, integrate it with Sentinel X, and create Aegis X, a revolutionary self-healing network. Talk about potential just lying dormant.
It shows that even in flawed places, good ideas can exist.
Yeah.
They just needed the right environment, the right leadership to flourish. It's a story of second chances, too.
Even Lily gets involved, interning as a UX ethics consultant, focusing on ethical design.
That's great, building those principles in from the ground up.
While Olivia and Daniel, their last gasps of relevance, a failed consulting gig, a bad memoir, a podcast nobody listened to, just fade out.
Sad trombone sound effect.
Huh. And Ethan's keynote at TechCon 25. He's gone from wronged engineer to industry leader. New motto, build better, steal never. Live demo of Aegis X. Roland Voss is there, grudgingly acknowledging their success.
A complete vindication. The motto says it all, really. Lessons learned, values stated clearly.
And the story ends back where it almost began. Phoenix is thriving, Lily's doing her thing, Clara's lasagna recipe is framed.
A nice touch.
And Ethan's back in his garage, still coding sometimes with his model trains, and Lily's sticky note, legacy revenge. It feels like he figured that out. It wasn't about getting even.
Yeah, that final image is powerful, back to his roots, his passion, but now leading this ethical, successful company. Lily's note nails the theme. Building something lasting matters more than settling scores.
So looking back at this whole roller coaster, what are the key takeaways for you? For me, it's definitely resilience, the sheer ability to bounce back, and how expertise combined with, actual principles can win out.
I agree. And it hammers home how vital culture is.
Yeah.
Respect, recognition, ethics. Ignore those, and look what can happen. The fallout is huge.
Yeah.
And the aha moments. The unexpected sparks, like the trains, Clara's notebook. And people like Marco stepping up. You never know where help or inspiration will come from.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About the ethics woven into innovation, the long game of how we act professionally. What resonates most with you, just personally?
It really prompts that question. What kind of code are we building? In our jobs, in our lives? What values guide that? Ethan's story is a potent reminder that building real value needs more than just skill. It needs integrity.
Integrity, that's the word. A powerful reminder. Maybe the ultimate point is that shortcuts, grabbing credit, they might look appealing, but real lasting success, that's built on doing the right thing, genuinely trying to build something better. Thanks for diving deep with us today.